What's up? What's up, everybody? What's up? I am back. I took a little break. I had some things going on. I had friends visiting a couple last week, actually. And then I don't know why I haven't recorded, actually. I don't have a really good reason. But I am under the weather, so you may hear some congestion. But we are going to make this do what it do. And we are back for the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. And I must say that Crystal irritated the shit out of me in this episode. We will get into that as I go through with my review. Remember, like, comment, and subscribe. We are on the road to 1,000 subscribers. Thank you to everybody who has supported the channel thus far. And let's go ahead and get this thing started. So, let me just turn this off. All right. So like I said, I'm still congested, but we're going to go ahead and get this through. So the show starts off with Garcelle and her sister, and they are she's looking at a property she just purchased. I think it was Venice Beach, if I'm not mistaken. It was out by the beach. It was a lake beach house, and it was a great scene. She talked about, growing up in Haiti. She didn't know anybody who owned more than one home. Some people who didn't own a home at all, and she wants to be. She wants something for her kids. She shows how she wants the house to look. I thought it was a really, really, really cool way of like the way the house was, the image that they showed, the wraparound deck, and I think it was like 2 different decks on the house. It was just a very, very California looking house, very beachy, and I thought it was a great thing. She talked about her sister are close. Her sister flies in from Miami. They're out on the beach talking about men and all those great things. Like I said, I thought it was a great scene, and I enjoyed it. Garcelle is my girl. That sounds so low. All right. So, Garcelle is my girl. So, yeah. So, this episode was like 2 different episodes. It was like part 1 was one way, and then part 2 was like something totally different. But, yeah. So, Doritos is up next, and she's out with Frodrica. Doritos is Dorit, and Frodrica is Erica. So that will be their names going throughout the show. Sometimes I may call them by their real names, but in my mind, their names are Frodrica and Dorito. So, Dorito brings up her therapy session. I don't care about it. About the whole break-in. They bring up Lisa, who was on the verge at this moment, who's on the verge of losing her mom. So we'll get into that as the review goes on. Then they bring up they're going to Mexico and how PK was like, you should go to Mexico. Go to Mexico with the girls, have a good time. Because, the break-in, it never really happened. Anyway, Kyle and Crystal are having lunch. And this episode, I really agree with Kyle a lot. I don't see it for Kyle, but I agree with her with this episode a lot. And so they were having lunch, and Kyle pretty much talks about, the conflict that the issue that Crystal brought up. Last episode, Crystal made it seem like Sutton was a racist. Like, let's just call it what it is. She made it seem like Sutton was a racist. She made it seem like Sutton had said this dark thing that could damage Garcelle and Sutton's friendship. She made it seem like Sutton was walking around with a white hood on her head. Just the way she was kept saying, it's so dark. What she said is so dark, I can't repeat it. So Kyle was like, I wasn't there. I mean, I was there. I don't know what you're talking about, but you can't bring up those kind of things and not say what it is. And Kyle was like, you pretty much gaslighting. And Chris was like, that's a dangerous thing to say. Don't say that to me. And Kyle's like, girl, you saying something about this lady, but you're not telling us what this lady said. And you don't think that's dangerous? Hello, Crystal, you're on national TV. You're on a syndicated show that gets played over and over and over again. And some people already think that white people are racist as it is. And as a Black person, there are some people I think that are automatically racist. There are other people who I think have the tendency to be that, but then there are other people I think that are just good-hearted people. But you made it seem like Sutton was this like I said earlier, walking around with a white hood on her head, and she had said something where Garcelle had to punch her in her mouth or something like that. Like, you was dead ass wrong. And I hated that she would not say what it was. Like, she just, ugh. Ooh, child. So she's like, you have to be careful with that. No, you got to be careful with what you say about people. How about that? How about y'all both be careful? How about that? Be careful. Cardi B said, be careful. Diana shows up to Kyle's house talking about she got lost. She's an hour and a half away from Beverly Hills, and her GPS got her lost. And baby Kyle said, honey, well, that's what happens when you buy a cheap car. I said, oh, Kyle the shade. Ew. So I thought that was a cute, funny little scene. Kyle talks about how she was at Paris's, her niece's wedding, and then on top of that, her oldest daughter got engaged. So she's been super tired, but she's also super excited. And then things got kind of interesting, and I'm going to make sure that I keep it. Okay. Excuse me. Diana says she, they talked about kids, and she's like, Kyle's like, do you want more kids? And I'm like, girl, you 48. How many more kids you need? But she's like, after my daughter, I was born, and I had she pretty much had a miscarriage at 5 months. And then she goes like these crazy details, and she's like, I was carrying a boy, and I was at the doctor. I was getting ready to show people, 5 months. She's like, I was carrying a boy. I was getting ready to, I was showing on the phone with people, letting them know. And the doctor's like, get off the phone. We had bad news. And she's like, she almost bled to death. The baby fell out of her. It was like the worst nightmare of all. And Kyle was looking at her like, what the hell? And it was, first of all, a miscarriage on any level, any term, whatever, is a horrible thing. The way that she was describing it, though, almost seemed like it was weird. I'm not going to say the lady's lying. I would never say that. It was just weird. And I guess, it was weird. It was weird the way she was describing it. So it was weird. But she's like, I'm going to try again. I'm not going to just, I'm not going to force it. I'm just going to, if it happens, we're just going to keep trying. I'm like, okay. So yeah, like I said, it was weird. Garcelle and Sutton are having dinner together, and they bring up the other night at Sutton's store opening and about what Crystal had said. And Garcelle's like, look, what did she say? Because she said that you had said something dark. And I want to know, what was said, because I need to know these things, So Sutton's pretty much like, well, the last conversation that I had that I can remember that we talked about was how I was outside or something along those lines. Her daughter was inside the jacuzzi with a black girl, an Asian girl, an Indian girl, and a white, and her daughter who's white. And she's like, this is how it should be. And Crystal, as they do a flashback, and Crystal's like, but you gotta go further. You gotta go deeper than that. And when she said it, me and Garcelle was like, girl, that's what she's talking about? That's what was dark? Really? And to me, it made sense, because it's like, you said this thing, and then it come to find out that Sutton. First of all, I don't like when white people say, I don't see race. You need to see race. That's the very first thing. So if she would have got, I remember when Kim Zolciak used to say that, I don't see race, I don't see race. They didn't jump down her throat. They informed her on why she needs to see race. And I think from there, she had a different perspective of why she needs to see race. So Sutton was like, I don't see race. So Crystal, who Sutton says she doesn't see race. She has a, she loves all creeds, all colors, blah blah blah. Okay, cool, we get that. But you need to see race. You need to see race because you need to understand the kind of society that we live in. We don't live in a fair world. We're watching Housewives of Beverly Hills, and this is the first time that we've seen this kind of diverse cast. Before that, it was just a bunch of white girls. Not to say that the network was racist, but it was just a bunch of white girls. So, for Sutton to say that I don't see race, I can believe that. But I also don't believe that Sutton is a racist either. So I think what Crystal did was messed up. And if and like I said, we'll go deeper into it as the episode goes on. But Sutton was pissed, and I would have been pissed off too. I'd have been cussing Crystal the fuck out. The fuck out. Not the, but the fuck out. Excuse me, let me drink some water. I can't wait to get this congestion up out of me. So, Garcelle's like, pretty much, you need to watch your new friend, Crystal. You need to watch her. The next thing we learned that Lisa Rinna's mom passes away. She was 93 and a half years old. She passed away in hospice in November of 2021. She went into a stroke, and she said she didn't want any, she didn't want no feeding tubes, no resuscitation, anything along those natures. And I felt this with Lisa because when my grandmother passed away in July of 2020, she had the same kind of, wishes. And she didn't want to be born. She didn't want to be resuscitated. She didn't want any feeding tubes. She was in hospice. And I just want to say that it was very hard. So I understand, Lisa, because when I first learned that my grandmother was passing away, I automatically had a breakdown. And then I was good moving on to the next, moving on to spend time with her and things like that. And it didn't hit me until, weeks later that she was really gone, and I couldn't, reach out to her and things like that. But I know that she's always here, and I know that she's always watching over me. So I definitely understand Lisa's like, I know she's not here, but it hasn't hit me yet. And I'm glad that Lisa and her family was there to surround her mother with love, because again, like I said, when my grandmother passed away, it was July of 2020, and it was during the height of the pandemic. And the nurses, only two people were allowed at a time inside of the hospice, but she allowed all of us to come in there. And I just, we thanked her so much and things like that. So I'm glad that Lisa had that moment. She was able to spend the final days and final hours and minutes and seconds with her mom, and also, like I said, her family. The ladies arrive at the airport to go to Mexico. Lisa also shows up. They weren't sure if she was going to show up because of what just happened a couple days ago to her mom. So they all surround her with love and hugs. And Lisa's like, I'm going to be okay, guys. But thank you, thank you, thank you. And you can tell that Lisa is like in shock. So, like I said, I can definitely relate to her on that level. So this is where so it was like that first half, and then the next 30 minutes was like a totally different episode. So they arrive in Mexico, they get in the car. So in one car is Lisa, Crystal, Lisa, Kyle, Dorito, and Diana. And then the other car was Frederica, Sutton, Garcelle, and Crystal, the liar. And Garcelle, it was very awkward in the Garcelle car. And then Garcelle's pretty much like, I bet you $5 Doritos is in the other car speaking Spanish. And then they switch over to her speaking Spanish. She's speaking Spanish, but the guy talking English back to her. I'm like, girl, you doing too much. So the ladies all arrive at dinner. Erica looks at Frederica. Like I told you, I might call her by her name sometimes, but her name is Frederica, Fraud, and Thief. She arrives looking broke and a mess. Dorito said she was late because the hotel put her on the ground floor, and it was triggering to her because of the break-in. Moving on. Lisa said she was gone for a week. What did she miss? And Sutton was like, you missed my store opening. And then it was like this long, awkward silence. And then Sutton was like, yeah, I also missed some stuff too. And Crystal was like, well, we had a conversation. No, Sutton said, I missed the conversation, you guys. And Crystal was like, well, we had the conversation with you at your store. And Sutton pretty much is like, I like you. We're building this friendship. I like where it's going, but I don't want any untruth spoken about me. And Crystal starts to talk about the words. What did I say? Crystal starts to talk about the words that were said. And she starts to describe stuff. And she said one thing. Garcelle was like, what's that? And then they said something else. And Crystal was like, I don't want to use too many big words. And Garcelle was like, girl, we understand big words. You just talking crazy. You talking in circles. And then Garcelle in her confessional, baby, this shit took me out. Garcelle in her confessional was like, I know a lot of big words too. We're smart ladies. I could use some big words right now, but I wouldn't want to make you feel uncomfortable. Baby, that shit had me hollering. And Sutton tells Crystal, I pretty much feel like you're trying to, say something about my character. And, for the second time, and it makes me nervous about the friendship. Here come the thief. Well, what did she say? What did she say about you? Because that's how I felt last year. I felt last year that you were trying to get... And Sutton was like, girl, I wasn't even talking to you. And Garcelle was like, girl, that's two different situations, two different scenarios. The whole world talking about you, your people, you got a whole ABC special out. You done stole these people money. We talk about something this little girl done said that didn't make sense. It's two different scenarios, two different situations. Ain't nobody paying you no mind. So sit over there and continue to be broke. And this in Sutton, I think I said this before, and if I hadn't, I'm gonna say it to you now. The way that you get Erica off of you, start letting her know you broke. Say, girl, I don't talk to broke people. I don't talk to thieves, and I don't talk to broke people. You a thief and you broke. We ain't got nothing in common. You say those things to her, she'll get up off of you. I'm telling you now, she'll get up off of you. Anyway, moving along. Dorito asks, did she exaggerate or did she make something up? Crystal's like, I didn't make anything up. In Crystal's confession, she's like, if Kyle or Froderica would have said the word dark, then people would have just automatically, whatever, let it roll off their shoulders. They wouldn't have paid it any mind. But because I said it, everybody wants to pretty much jump on my case. And I'm like, no, they jumping on your case because you won't say what she said. You cannot go around town saying something about somebody, and then when people say, well, girl, what did she say? You say, oh, well, I don't want to bring it up. What? If you sitting in front of if you a lawyer and you in a court and it's like, well, my client said this, and they could get your client off, and then you say, but I don't want to share it. Girl, what? Crystal, when I tell you this little girl irritated me. So Froderica was like, are you saying that Sutton's a racist? She's a racist. She kept saying the word racist. I'm like, girl, I'm like, y'all, please get her and her broke ass some goddamn camera time because, she irritates me. Anyway, but the ladies pretty much jump on Crystal for saying, pretty much what I just said. You can't say these things and then not expect people to not want to know what this lady said. So, Sutton brings up what was said and about the whole, sitting in the pool and things like that. And everybody's like, what? That's what it is? That's what you're talking about? And she's like, yeah. Well, before then, Sutton was like, I like you. We're trying to build a friendship, but you make things up about people. You make things up about these friends who are no longer, she made up stuff about old people she's no longer friends with to try to get in with the most powerful person in the group or something like that. And Crystal was like dead ass silent at the table. And my thing is this with you, Crystal. I'm sure you'll redeem yourself later on in the season, but right now we not feeling you, and you messed up for doing that to that lady. You messed up. You should have said, this is what she said. I didn't really care for what she said, but you can use but take it how you want to take it. To me, it offended me. See, you didn't say any of that stuff. You just want people to say, "Well, it's my feelings," but we don't know why you feel like this. And and Kyle was like, Kyle got on her, and Kyle was like, "You doing too much." And then so she says it, and so when it's brought up, Crystal's like, "So Garcelle, you see the problem?" Garcelle like, "No, girl, I don't see the problem. What was the problem? What was the problem? What was said?" And it's like people can't sit in a jacuzzi together. Like, Crystal, what are you talking about? Crystal, sit down some fucking where. Sit down somewhere. And like I said, Garcelle didn't take offense to it. And Garcelle pretty much is like, you made it seem like it was worse than what it was. And that's what I'm saying. Like, that's what everybody's saying. Like, you messed up. You made it seem like this lady was walking around calling everybody the N-word, saying all kind of racist stuff about Mexicans and this and that because she's from the South, and that was your way to like trying to have an issue. And then it's like, you bringing it up now when y'all on good terms. Why you ain't bring that shit up last year when y'all was beefing and you quote unquote was getting her together about not seeing color? So you fucked up, Crystal. And the thing is, you can't be up here trying to portray to be this person, but you ain't having no backbone. You should have been like, yeah, this is what she said to me. I felt some kind of way. Y'all take it how y'all want to take it, but you didn't do that. You was just sat there. Well, it was dark and it made me feel some kind of way. Girl, shut the fuck up. Shut up. And I don't, like I said again, we all know that they're cool now. I don't know how, because that shit would have pissed me off. And like I said earlier, and like I'm saying, I'd have wouldn't let up off her ass. I'd have been cussing her the fuck out for the rest of the goddamn season, the rest of the trip, because you now sat up here while we up on this network, and you said this X, Y, and Z about me, and people are going to have this assumption that I'm a racist, and I'm really not, because I said something about some kids sitting in the fucking jacuzzi. Yeah, I wouldn't let up off her ass either. Anyway, y'all, that was this week's episode. I thought it was a really good episode, honey. Now, next week, ooh, next week is when we get into the really juicy things, baby. And I can't wait for Garcelle to tell Erica you're annoying the shit out of me. Anyway, you all, that is that. I am, like I said, feeling much better. Be on the lookout for weekend sessions. I'll be putting my Housewives review up on Sunday. I'm not going to review anything I've missed in the past. I'm not going to review it. I'm just going to move forward and review from there. And then I'll be doing Love and Marriage DC Saturday, and ATL on Sunday. I haven't gotten to Dubai yet. Dubai supposedly is really, really good, so we'll see. Also, from what I read online, we should be getting the trailer for Married to Medicine, so maybe I'll do a reaction video or something like that to that. Anyway, I'm going to go take me some medicine and go to sleep so I can get this congestion up out of me. And you all have a wonderful night. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.